Yo, what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Great League video. Today we're going to be showcasing the absolute GOAT of sweeping games in Go Battle League, Shadow Charizard. This Pokemon, after the massive move update that's coming next season, is basically going to be never the same. Wing attack is getting a huge nerf, meaning that the pacing of this move is just no longer viable in the Great League. Charizard is actually moving over to Fire Spin next season, which really tells you everything. Fire Spin is getting a buff, however the pacing with Charizard will be a little bit worse. Normally it's 7 wing attacks and then straight 6 for Blast Burn. Next season it's going to be 5 Fire Spins and then 4, which is a massive difference, especially whenever you take that it's a 2-turn move versus a 3-turn move. It loses a lot of flexibility, and guys, unfortunately, Shadow Charizard as we know it is effectively going to be dead from next season, unless they give this Pokemon a new move, or of course revert some of the changes to wing attack in the future updates, which with Niantic you really never know. That could be the case where they need wing attack to be a little bit better again. This Pokemon definitely could be back, it's always got this potential, but for the time being I think we're saying goodbye to Shadow Charizard, and from now to the end of the season I want to do a little mini series on the channel where we're going to say goodbye, RIP, to some of our favourite Pokemon. Let me know in the comment section down below which Pokemon you'd like to see. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the massive move update that's coming, and without any further ado, let's hop into it. So we actually lost the first battle here. We did get a 4-1 here and a couple of pretty decent sets, and in this battle right here we have a Wigglytuff lead. The opponent is staying in. Now for those of you guys who have been playing Great League, you'll be very aware of the Reezy team. Wigglytuff in the lead with Poliwrath and Ape. Basically Venusaur, Charizard beats the entire team, so that's what I was hoping for. I was just rubbing my hands together. I was like, okay, Venusaur's gonna cook, Charizard's gonna cook, but the opponent actually comes into Victory Bell and comes into Basti. This is supposed to be a Shadow Charizard showcase, however we're just gonna be showcasing Charizard getting smacked all the way down unfortunately here. However, today's team is a very fun one. We've got the Venusaur in the lead, and we also have the Feraligatr, so we basically have an entire team full of closers. Now, this might be looking a little bit tricky, but all I need to do here is shield up the Stone Edge and basically overfarm as much as possible. We did get a few wing attacks in the Victory Bell. We're going to say goodbye to the Bastiodon here with the Hydro Cannon. Bang! Get the fuck off my screen. And we're going to look to go ahead and go for the crunch. Good games all played there. Thankfully guys, next season this team is looking a little bit dead. Wigglytuff got buffed, however Victory Bell and Bastiodon both got nerfed. In the next battle here, we've quite an awkward lead. Shadow Magnezone, of course, I can go for Mirror Shots on the Venusaur. Wild Charge will do a ton of damage, right? So this is actually my best answer on the team. The opponent goes for a Mirror Shot like an absolute potato. We're going to go straight for the big Frenzy Plant. Even though resisted would do an absolute ton, the opponent shits their pants, puts up the shield, and I decide, you know what? I think I do want to get one more shield here. I want to get both shields down on the opponent, and then basically try to set up Feraligatr to outpace it, or if need be, I can look to just let this go and put everything in Zard. I'm not quite ready to put it all in Zard yet. Zard will have a lot of work to do, and the opponent comes into a Cresselia. This is absolutely fantastic. We go for the same P-tie here on the Grass Knot here. This crunch is going to do heavy damage, and the opponent will go for a Grass Knot. Now basically what I need to win this match is for the opponent not to be in Future Sight. If the opponent's in Future Sight, I am absolutely cooked here. My switch clock is not up. I need to get as much energy as possible. I could have further moved there, but it's no good to me. I need the energy. I need to be able to do a massive sweep here with Charizard. So throwing like a Dragon Claw there, that might have lost me the game. Now the opponent comes back into Magnezone, indicating that they actually might be quite weak to this. They're sacrificing the Magnezone, goodbye, and the opponent comes into a Gligar. Is this going to be enough damage? The opponent debuffed me, so I swap out, clear my debuff, bank the Blast Burn, and we're going to full send it. Is this enough to knock out the Gligar? Ladies and gents, it absolutely one-shots. Good games all played. Despite the debuffed wing attacks plus the Blast Burn was enough damage to take out the Gligar. The best thing I could have done in that last match was to throw a Dragon Claw first, and then bank a Burn and swap, just to be absolutely certain that I can knock it out. But hopping into the next game, we have the Pink Turd in the lead. The opponent, as per usual, is going to 2-shield. If you're ever against Wigglytuff with Venusaur, go straight Frenzy Plant. You don't need to go for the big move here, the super effective move, especially on the Shadow version of Venusaur. Maybe non-Shadow if you get debuffed once or twice, you might consider going for the Sludge Bomb, but as you can see here, Frenzy does amazing neutral damage, and I do want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. This Pokemon is going to be amazing next season. Venusaur I think is going to be very, very strong. In comes the Poliwrath. The opponent only builds up to an Icy Wind. I shit my pants, I put up the shield, I don't want to get too much damage on the Charizard. The opponent comes into this, and I swap straight into the Feraligatr. Once again, another Pokemon that's going to be fantastic next season. Feraligatr and any Pokemon that has hard-hitting charge moves, which can get to them pretty quickly with the Shadow Claws and things like that. These Pokemon are going to be amazing next season. You're going to see Feraligatr basically everywhere, so I hope during the Rocket event and the recent battle event that we've got here, I hope that you were able to get a decent one. We see P-tie here on the Dragon Claw, and we're basically plain sailing here. You've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times. The Shadow Charizard sweep is coming through, the Shadow Poliwrath, despite resisted damage, is not going to be able to take a Blast Burn, and that's going to be good games. Shadow Charizard has always been such a fun Pokemon to watch and fun Pokemon to play with. I think Shadow Charizard gained a lot of attention back in the Medicham meta, whenever a Human Catcher Bug actually brought this to Liverpool and got the win with it. Human Catcher Bug on his first ever tournament, winning Liverpool, and just going absolutely crazy with Shadow Charizard. It became a staple in play Pokemon, and of course became a staple in GBL as well. It just is so devastating, and whenever you have a meta that's not super RPS, of course we do have the Bastiodons. Dunsparce was fairly common back in the day. Of course Lantern was still very good at that time as well. You did have some very RPS matchups for Charizard, but in general, this is one of my favourite Pokemon of all time, one of my favourite Pokemon from the anime, one of my favourite Pokemon to use in GBL, and it definitely is a little bit sad to see it go. Once again, the opponent's using this Brain Dead team here, which I guess they might as well get their sets in with it now, because this team is looking pretty dead next season. You know, Razor Leaf is still going to do a lot of damage, you still can play the RPS playstyle. Wigglytuff is getting a slight buff, however Bastiodon, Victreebel, they're not going to be doing quite as well in neutral matchups. And for me personally, I think that limited metas, whenever you have Razor Leaf available, just become extremely toxic. I think it's going to be great that if you're in a neutral matchup against a toxic Pokemon, you're not going to basically get 2-shield Razor Leaf down, which is very frustrating. We go for one in that set, and in the next match here, as Jimmy Finn would say, we have Licky, far too thicky. I have to agree with what Jimmy said in this recent video. I am happy this Pokemon is no longer going to be on our screens for much longer. However, it is getting replaced by Big Bro Licky. I do actually have a rank 1 Licky and a rank 2 for Great League, and I'm definitely looking forward to building that for Ultra League as well. Very cool Pokemon with interesting coverage. Now, as you can see here, Venusaur can take a Body Slam, even Shadow, and we actually do win the zeros here against the Lickitung, which is amazing. I instantly pivot here into the Feraligatr. I go for the CMP tie here on the potential dig, and we're going to look to fire for the Hydro Cannon. The opponent here actually CMPs me on the second move, and guys, I was so happy at this point. We have Shadow Charizard with 2 shields in the back. This is the absolute dream. We're letting this go. We're letting this go. The ace does not quite knock out. I'm not sure if that was an undercharge or not, but we're going to come in with Zard here. We're going to shield up everything. If I can get a catch on Venusaur at some point during the match, that may help me here as well. My switch clock is coming up. The opponent comes into an Azu, and thankfully, guys, my Venusaur is still healthy enough to, even throw in good timing, get off a Frenzy Plant, which you're about to see absolutely one-shots Azu. We have a Blast Burn banked on the Charizard. Boom. We're going to go for the CMP tie, and that's going to be game over. So the thing about Charizard is, against things like Azumarill, you can actually do just crazy neutral damage. In the next match, fantastic. Best possible lead here. We do not want to see this in our backline. The opponent comes into a Victreebel. We come straight into Charizard. Now, I make a mistake here. I should have thrown the Dragon Claw right away, because a Sludge Bomb will absolutely wreck the Charizard. The opponent's on the new Magical Leaf here. But you're going to see that Shadow Charizard against Lantern, this Pokemon does not care about typings. Now, I think I do make one further slight mistake here. Blast Burn number 1. I think what I should do here is go for double Dragon Claw. I do think that might have been enough to knock it out. We do go for the Blast Burn number 2 here, and as you can see, we leave him 1 HP. So unfortunately, we do have to take a further move on the Venusaur, but we just need to hope that basically Feraligatr and Venusaur can sweep the backline. In comes Trevenant here. I do make another mistake here by not coming straight into Gator. I allow the opponent to get a huge energy lead, and this is going to be pretty costly for me here. The opponent is getting up to back-to-back moves. They do IPS me to the moves here, unfortunately. So I am forced to shield. I need to get the shield down, and I basically need to hope the opponent throws their move instantly. We need to hope the opponent's an insta-throwing Andy. However, unfortunately, they are a patient Peter. They're over-farming. They're getting the energy here, and because of my misplays, we are just going to get IPS'd here, unfortunately. Few opportunities to win that game. Could have threw the move on the Victreebel. We don't quite make it to the Frenzy Plant, unfortunately, and yeah, good games. I definitely could have won that one. In the next match, we have a massive core breaker here. Chargebug basically beats the whole team. However, Shadow Venusaur can take a move. X-Scissor, because of my joint poison typing, is a neutral move. We can take it. I 1 and throw here, or in fact, I 3 and throw here. The X-Scissors come in 3 and then 2, so I'm throwing right before they get to it. They actually no shield. I go for a CMP tie right here. The opponent goes for the extra Volt Switch instead of throwing right away. I'm really happy here. The opponent lets it go. In comes Ape, in comes Gator, and I'm hoping we can try to sort of draw something out of the back, get a Charizard sweep. The opponent gets the boost, and with counter getting nerfed next season, once again, you're not going to see Apes do this quite as much. I believe it's now 6 for the Night Slash. So I'm thinking here, that's a lot of juicy wing attacks I can get. We're going to farm this all the way down. The opponent will make, of course, another couple of Night Slashes, which is a bit of a pain. We're just going to try our absolute best to farm this down. Please, no more boosts. I have to double shield here, unfortunately. And I just need to pray it's not Lantern. I need to pray, oh, it's actually Whiscash. Can we make it to the move in time? I do make it to the move. Now, this is going to come down to, can I one-shot this with Blast Burn from this range? The opponent gets a ton of energy. Does Blast Burn one-shot from here? Big bulky Whiscash, none shadow. Come on, Charizard, you can do it. Bang! Unfortunately, he lives on 1 HP. Very, very close one there. Super disappointing. If the opponent did not get a boost, I might have been able to let one of those Night Slashes go, although it would have left me very low. Once again, we get the Lickitung lead. The opponent here is an insta-throwing Andy, going for a CMP tie with the Venusaur. Not recommend. Oh, actually, sorry, this one's not. The last opponent did, of course, go for the CMP. We're going to go ahead, take the Body Slam, play this out the exact same way. If the opponent shields here, I'm pretty happy with this. We can basically farm it down with Charizard, get a huge energy lead, and try to sweep from the beginning of the match, basically. In comes Gligar. I instantly pivot, not allowing the opponent to get too much energy. And because this is non-shadow, I'm fairly comfortable to take this move. We're going to overfarm as much as possible here. Go for the CMP here on the Hydro Cannon. Unfortunately, Gligar up a wing attack is very awkward. I could shield here, however, I'm starting to think, is it Charizard time? I guess I decide here I can live the wing attacks and threaten the opponent with 2 moves here. We go for another 5 and throw. I think the opponent does go for the extra, so that wing attack will be knocking me out here. So the opponent should be on 6 wing attacks, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, they build up to 9. So I'm going to shield this move. If the opponent stays in to throw the next move, I'm going to look to catch the move on Venusaur. We catch the aerial ace here. No matter how much the opponent undercharges, I don't think they can do anything here. And in comes Annihilate in the back. We're going to do like 4 or 5 here. Go for the Blast Burn. And this is just classic Charizard right here. Bang. We're going to one-shot here. We're going to one-shot the Gligar. And that's going to be good games well played. Charizard doing what Charizard does best. Just sweeping the back line. No Lantern, no problem. And in the next battle here, we have a Steady Cash lead. The opponent comes into Gligar. And I sort of realized at this point, if I get this particular team comp, I kind of need to get a shield down against Gligar, because this is extremely awkward. They just outpace me here, and they can basically farm me down. So I'm thinking like, oof, this is kind of rough. The opponent does allow me to make it to a second move, so I'm extremely happy with this at this point. The opponent will be just getting an absolute shed load of energy. So if you guys do try this team, Gligar safe swap, stay with Venusaur, trade a shield, and in the 1-to-1 scenario, it's a lot more comfortable for Gator. So we have to take a move here. We can't go down all shields with the Whiscash in the front, and this is kind of looking a little bit awkward. The opponent, of course, will make it to the second move. I just need as much energy as I can possibly get here. The opponent's making it to the third move. I'm just putting it all on Charizard with the energy here. I just need to hope and pray there's nothing too bad in the back, nothing too hard to counter for Venusaur. We do have a Whiscash lead, and oftentimes with Whiscash lead, you do see things like Skarmory. I'm going to go for Blast Burn number 2, try to get the knockout here. Unfortunately, with Steady Cash, very thick, the opponent comes into Skarmory, and yeah, I just immediately top left, unfortunately. So yeah, with Charizard, you know, if we had have got that alignment correct, we definitely could have won that one, but that was just a little bit tricky, a little bit awkward. I think on that safe swap, it's definitely very, very necessary to go for Frenzy. At the very least, get a shield down off the opponent, and then look to go into the Gator and look to do some work from there. In the next battle here, we do have a Lickitung lead. Once again, we're going to go for the Frenzy plant, try to take alignment off the rip here. The opponent actually catches the move this time on their own Venusaur. I'm absolutely loving this. They're just going to absolutely feed my Charizard an entire Venusaur. I'm super happy with this. Now, from an Unshadow Venusaur, you can take this move, but I just decide they're going to come back in with Licky. This is going to do more than a Body Slam, so if I'm going to shield once, I might as well shield that move and try to make it to 3 Blast Burns versus the Lickitung. The opponent comes into Lantern. This is worst case scenario. Is this game still winnable? Blast Burn number 1 coming through, doing just under 50% of the Lantern. This Blast Burn number 2 could be threatening a shield off Lantern, which is kind of crazy. The opponent just lets it go, goes for the CMP tie here, and we might still be fine here. I'm going to win to Venusaur, the opponent comes into Licky. I should be just outpacing here because I get the extra Vine Whip through. So right here, I think I start making some questionable decisions in this matchup. So the opponent goes for a Body Slam, I decide to take it here, which is perfectly fine I think, because I think I will still be able to make it to Frenzy. I think I needed to get the shield off the opponent before coming into Gator. However, the opponent was, you know, up to 2 moves. I decided to let the Body Slam go, and we go for the Hydro. I think at this point, I should potentially think about letting the Feraligatr go. I just wasn't sure if the opponent was in Frenzy plus Vine Whip range, and my Venusaur is getting quite low. I go for the Hydro Cannon, and the opponent goes for a nasty catch on Lantern. This is devastating for me now. Can I still make it to this move? The opponent throws the move right before me. So this is just a case if I can outpace with Venusaur or not, and will a Frenzy Plant knock out. Can we make it in time? We do make it to the Frenzy Plant. Is this going to be enough to knock out the Lickitung? I've misplayed this match somewhat. It does one-shot the Lickitung, and that's good games. So we get the sweep of Venusaur this time, which, like I said, I think it's going to be such a good Pokemon next season. If you have a look at next season's meta, we're seeing things like Stinky Binky's going to be very good, things like Machamp. We no longer have wing attackers in the meta, so like the worst matchup, you know, flyer-wise that you're likely to see quite often is going to be like a Jumpluff or a Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz only knows Ace, not a hard-hitting move, and Jumpluff, of course, has the Giant Grass typing, so you can actually threaten it with Sludge Bomb, which is pretty good. The opponent comes into Sableye here, which of course is getting buffed next season. I've got Skarmory, Sableye. I've seen this team a lot, and this is a team I've showcased and used a lot. Skarmory lead plus something in the back that's weak to Charm, 2 things weak to Charm. We have Sableye here, so I'm thinking in the back, we either have a Dragon, or we potentially have a Giratina, which of course is a Dragon Ghost. It could be Trevenant. I decide here we're going to come in and get a massive farm down with this, because Blast Burn of course will be looking to one-shot the Skarmory. They come back in here, I go for a huge overfarm, CMP tie here on the Sky Attack, and we're going to see what's in the back. Will it be Giratina? The opponent is waiting and waiting and waiting. They bring in the Giratina right here. The opponent switch clock's not up. We're very safe to go for these moves right away. Dragon Claw number 1 coming through. Does about 50% of the Giratina, or a little bit more maybe. Dragon Claw number 2 coming in. This will secure the knockout. And the Sableye is super low. Those wing attacks are hitting like charms. And we do farm it all the way down. Good games well played. In the next battle, we get the Nightmare lead. It's Altaria. We come into the Feraligatr and the opponent brings in the Poliwrath. This is feeling very, very RPS currently. The opponent here just absolutely does not give a shit about Wigglytuff, especially in Go Battle Week. You don't care about Wigglytuff in Go Battle Week, you're absolutely crazy. So I decide here, this is tricky. If I come in Charizard, like, they're going to take all my shields. This one, Icy one's going to hurt a lot. This is rough. That does a lot more than I thought it was going to do. I didn't expect them to actually, like, be able to counter me down into this range with this. This is looking super rough. We get rid of the Poly, and the opponent comes into a Whiscash. So interesting team by the opponent. Double weak to Grass in the back, AB a weak to Charm. If they get a Charmer, do they stay in? Do they come into Whiscash? I'm not too sure what the opponent does against any Wigglytuff team, but we're not going to talk about that too much. The opponent goes for Scald. I think the only way I can possibly win this is by getting a catch. I do believe the opponent got the debuff with the Scald. 30% chance. That does very, very low damage at this point. I definitely need to get a catch, otherwise it's absolute curtains for me here. These Dragon Breaths are going to be doing an absolute ton of damage. Speaking of Dragon Breaths, I thought Charizard with Dragon Breath could be quite interesting next season. It will be very slow to pacing though. So I go for 1 Dragon Claw here. I believe the opponent's getting very close to the Sky Attack. Can I make a catch here? That's the only way I win this match. I do 1 wing attack, I go for the catch. Unfortunately, the opponent does not fall for it. Good patience by the opponent. They go for Sky Attack. That's good games well played. Unfortunately for the final game, Charizard not quite able to sweep. Hope you all enjoyed the video, man. Drop a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments down below which Pokemon are getting nerfed this season that you're really going to miss playing in GBL and that you would like to see a showcase for. Do let me know in the comments. I will be sure to get around to those. I've done a showcase already, or I've already recorded footage for Swampert and a few other Pokemon. Do let me know which Pokemon you would like to see showcased. And like I said guys, thank you very much for watching. Most importantly, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.